Hello and welcome back to Amtrans Data. Today we're going to look at creating queries. If you remember the last video, actually the previous two videos, we worked with tables, one with creating a table in design view, as well as importing a table importing a table from data that we received from somewhere else. So today we're going to look at creating queries. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the query wizard, the datasheet view, query design view, sorting a query, and specifying a criteria for a query. So we're going to go over here to Microsoft Access. And this is the same database that we have used the two previous times. And the first place we're going to go is we're going to click on the Create tab here, and you'll just go to Create. And under Queries, we actually have two choices. We can go to Query Wizard, or we can go to Query Design. Now we're going to use Query Wizard. I will tell you that I never use Query Wizard in my day-to-day work. I haven't never found it useful, but I do want to show you some of the tools that you can use. I honestly cannot tell you what you would use it for, except for making a basic query. But if for most of the queries that you can, make and query with using the query wizard, it will be just beneficial just to use the table itself. But that being said, let's look at it. So you have four different choices. You can create a simple query wizard, a cross-tab query wizard, and we'll talk about cross-tab queries at a later date. You can create a query to find duplicates and a query to find unmatched data. So we're going to use the simple query wizard and just click OK. And then it's going to come up, it's going to ask what fields do you want in your query, and you can choose from more than one table or query. In our case today, we are going to choose the table that we imported, or the data that we imported into the table last time, or we could choose the other one we did, but we'll choose this one. And the fields that I'm going to select, I'm not going to select all these fields, and I'm just going to select the manufacturer field, and I'm going to select the model, and then I'm going to select the number of seats. Okay. You can also click this tab to pull everything back, or to pull all the fields over, and that's this one here. And if you want to pull them all back, you just go here, and pull them all that way. But we're going to manufacture model. Notice I'm double clicking just to pull them over also, and then the number of seats. Yes, that's it. Okay, so then you choose next, and then it's going to ask you if you want to see the details, meaning you would you like to see the details, or would you like to see a summary? Well, in this case, we're going to see the details, so I'm going to not choose summary, and we'll review that the summary at a later date. And so it's going to ask, what do you want the title of your query? What do you want the title of the query to be? And you know me, I stick to my convention, and I'm going to get rid of this right here. I really don't like any spaces in any names of any objects that I create, and that's just something that I utilize. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do the same thing, but this normally what I show you is what works for me And I do this thinking that one day I may have to migrate this database. I know I say that often, to a more robust platform. And a lot of the platforms you move to, they're really not crazy about spaces. So that's why you will rarely see any spaces in my object names. Okay. So that's everything we need, and then you can actually open the query to view the information, or you can go ahead and modify it in Query Design. We're going to go ahead and open it. So we'll just choose Finish, and boom, you're going to end up in Design View. And this is all of the 87,794 rows that we had in our original table. The only thing we selected from our query was just the 3 fields. Notice that one thing I do need to say, if I didn't say, that a query, this is not a table. This is basically just pulling data from the table, aircraft ref. And that's all it is. So if I go back and make changes to the table, for example, if I delete some fields, then when I run the query, they're going to be deleted also. So it's basically just like a view or a look into that table. Okay. And just a little tip or whatever, if you open up a query table and you see the data is cut off, just like you can do in Excel, you can just double click here and it will basically widen it to whatever the widest field that's on the screen showing. So if you see, if I move down here, I'm gonna have to do it again, and it'll just there. Okay, so here you see, as I said, we have all of the fields, but let's look at, say, sorting. So we can actually come in, and if we go back to the home button, and you'll see I can perform a filter, or I can also sort. So I can sort it, ascending. Once again, it does not change the data in the table. It's just changing in this data sheet view of the query. You can change it, back to descending or ascending, and then I can come in. I can remove the sort. Okay, so that is one thing. But what you'll find out is, as I said, all this is I just chose certain fields in that. But if you notice, it's not real useful, because if I want to limit this query, which is what I want to do, I'm going to have to go back to the design view. And so if I come on from the home button, and if you click on view here, you have a choice between datasheet view, SQL view, which we will look at a later date, or the design view. So we're going to go to the design view, and this is what the design view looks like. It basically has the fields that we've pulled in. This is the table. It represents the table that we made, and it has the fields that were basically pulled in when we did the wizard. Okay, so let's we can actually create this query where that whenever we run the query, open the query, we can actually sort this table. So we can, if we click right here and you go to drop down, you can either have it not sorted, or you can sort ascending or descending. We'll sort it ascending. And it wouldn't make sense to sort the manufacturing scene if you didn't have the model sorted in ascending. So we do the same thing there. And so then we'll come back up here, and we can go back to the datasheet view, or we can run this. And so we'll just run that here, and it takes us back to the datasheet view. And so now you'll see it is in ascending order, And then if, for example, if we come down to, oh good, let's go to Aero Commander. It's one of my favorite aircraft. And you'll see the models are all sorted in ascending also. Okay. So what I would like to see though is, a lot of these are one-seater aircraft. Let's say if we were thinking about starting a small regional airline and we just wanted to look at, say, 19-seaters. Not very common today. Years ago, the 19-seaters fell in a different designation, and they were more popular. But you really don't. It's really they're not popular with airlines anymore. But we are going to go back to design view, and I'm going to add a criteria. So I'm going to come here in criteria under number of seats, and I'm just going to add 19. And then we'll come back up to run. So these are all of the 19 seats that are 19 seaters that are from the table that we downloaded. And you look at some of these, they may seem familiar. When I think of 19-seater, I automatically think of the Jetstreams and probably the 1900 Beechcraft. Think of those. And those were basically regional airliners. Now the regional, if you think about the term regional, it's so obscured now, because you have a regional airliner that will basically fly from, say, New York to actually Kansas City, what was considered as a regional airline, but it really means something different today. But so if we look at this, so that is how I can actually create this. I can then come in and, like I said, have it sorted by manufacturer, then by model, then the number of seats. Now, before I exit this, what I would do is I would come in and actually save it. And it would also ask me the same thing when I get ready to close it. So, but as in most applications and programs, I still tell everyone, stick to the old standard, save as often as you can. Some programs do actually, for example, Word and Excel, periodically they will save the data for you, but always get in the habit of you just periodically saving your work. Okay, so I can actually close this here. And so now when I go back and I run this query again, it's going to come up same way. But going back to what I originally said, this is why if normally I was going to create this query, I would not even waste time using the wizard. I would have gone directly and created this in the design view, and I could honestly do it just as quickly. And I'll just show you. I'll come to query design, and I can pull my tables over from here. I just double click. This is a table that I actually built from query design. So I'll just pull this over here and manufacturer, model, and I had the number of seats. And then I'll come down here and I'll sort ascending. And my criteria is 19. And let's go ahead and boom. That's it. So as I said, there you see, that's why I rarely use it. And now, of course, we end up would have to save this, but when we got ready to close it, it's going to prompt you. It's going to ask if you want to save it. We'll just go ahead and say yes. Use my we'll just call it number 2 and click OK. Same thing. I just did it a different way. Okay. If this is beneficial to you, I really ask you to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please, feel free to put them in the comment sections. And I hope that this is beneficial to you on your journey into databases. All right. Thank you and have a great evening.